except if you do, it's right outside, there's a water fountain out there. I'd like to thank Senator Mike Groene for joining us this evening, and also we have another senator in the House, and would you like to introduce him, Mike? Okay. Senator Wayne, oh, hiding back there, okay. And he's head of the Department of Urban Affairs. Chairman, thank you for coming. And their group is studying TIF very directly the next few months. So anyways, I'm going to just give a quick agenda, and then we'll let Senator Groene talk. We just want to, some of you don't know maybe what's going on with TIF in Ashland. If you haven't read the paper, I think most of you do though, but we'll just kind of cover that real quickly. If we could bring up the agenda column. So this meeting is sponsored by a group called Ashland Initiative. We're just a small group of citizens that are very concerned about the future of Ashland and our schools. Again, my name is Bob Libby. I'm going to provide a little background on the Whitetail TIF project. Then we'll give the mic to the Senator Groene, and then we'll have a Q&A section. And then we're going to talk about our petition that we've been circulating the last couple weeks. Just a little bit on the procedures coming up. So we need to finish by 8 o'clock. So we just got to focus on TIF tonight. And I know there's maybe some other questions you may have for the senator, but we just got to really stay focused. If you have some time at the end, we'll be, I'm sure, happy to try to help you out there. During the Q&A time, just please address any questions to Senator Groene or myself, and we'll just give you the microphone. If you have a question, just raise your hand and come on up when we're ready for that point. And we're going to try to limit it at one question per person just because we don't have much time. And please refrain from making long statements. Again, we just got an hour and a half here. We want to keep this an informational and civil meeting, so we'll just all, this is just very business and orderly. Just a couple things on the TIF project. So the Whitetail TIF project, for those of you that don't know much about it, it's going to be, in the first phase, there's going to be 50 single-family homes planned. Homes are estimated to cost between $250,000 to $300,000 each. And the Whitetail developers have requested just a little under $1.8 million and TIF financing to help pay for their infrastructure needs. That's going to be water, sewer, roads, and so on to go up there. Eventually, Whitetail could have up to 150 homes and some commercial lots when all the phases are completed. But initially, they're just going to build up 50 homes. The City Council has recently blighted the Whitetail area and annexed in preparation for the TIF financing. And essentially, the money on the increment on the increased home values is what's going to go pay for the developer's bond for that infrastructure. The Ashland Greenwood School Board unilaterally opposed the use of TIF for this project because of the effect on the school system, and that was by all the school board members. And the City Council does plan to vote on the TIF agreement on August 17th, so hope you can make that. Next slide. Just a couple things here to point out. Just in my own calculations, this is just a rough draft. If they was to get that little bit under $1.8 million, if you figure interest on that bond, it comes out to about $2.7 million total that will have to go towards the TIF bond, and that's going to affect the school. I don't know if you can see that too well, but it's going to be about $1.1 million in property taxes that's going to be withheld from the school system. The city itself is going to lose just a little under $1 million, and the county will lose about $300,000 over the next 15 years. And so that's a spreadsheet I put together because no one else was providing that kind of data, so I decided to do it myself. Just a little bit of facts on the school system. If you was to go to the next slide. This is data that I got right from the school system. So last year, and the schools are growing. Last year, the school had 887 students. This year, they're expecting 922, so that's a 4% increase. which is a pretty big increase in just 1 year's time. The state aid received last year was just a little over $2 million. This year it was reduced by about $500,000, so they're only going to get $1.5 million this year. And state aid is not guaranteed in the future. I think Senator Groene can tell you that, you know, due to budget cuts and so on, they're always looking for areas to cut expenditures. This is from the school. They expect 1.5 students per home in the Whitetail development, and so that's going to be about 75 new students through 50 homes. And if you can kind of do the math, it's cost just a little under $10,000 to educate a student each year. So you kind of multiply that out to see what those costs would be. If you can advance. And this is kind of hard to see, but all this red area is what was blighted. That includes part of East Ashland, as well as this big cornfield here that's Whitetail Run. So the city's annexed just a portion of that now, and that's going to be, this is the plot map for those 50 homes where that's going to go. Okay? We're clear that way. This is clear on the east side of Ashland, so about that way about a mile or so. Yeah, we're west. We're clear on the west edge of Ashland. Okay, so let me introduce Senator Groene, if you can bring up the next slide. So Senator Groene, he was born on a farm in Nebraska. He's got a degree in agriculture and economics from UNL. Lives in Lincoln County, and he was elected to the legislature in 2014. He represents District 42, and he's introduced over 20 bills in the legislature during his term so far. He is the chair of the Education Committee, which is elected by his peers, and he helped stop the expanded use of TIF by leading filibuster. And so he's very knowledgeable about TIF, and that's why we asked him to come here tonight. Actually, took Groene out to the Whitetail development to show him the cornfields that have been blighted, and so he's kind of got some history on this so far. So, Senator Groene.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say this is Senator Bosselman's district. And he was happy that I was coming tonight. He was going to be here, but he had a brother pass away suddenly, and he, of course, is with family. But why did I ever get involved in TIF? I lived in Colorado, followed my career, and went to Colorado for 10 years. I came back and moved to North Platte. And one of the first things was sticker shock. What happened to property taxes in Nebraska in the 10 years I was gone. But there was a TIF in North Platte. I'm an artist. I was coming to town, so I started looking into TIF, and some local real estate speculators. There's a difference between a developer and a speculator. They're the ones that buy the real estate around the community and wait their turn until the development comes and make a good profit on it. Bought an alfalfa field right on an interstate exchange, got their friends on the city council and mayor to blight and substandard the area. They paid $500,000 for an alfalfa field. 2.5 years later, they sold it to Menards for $3.5 million. TIF is not being used what it's intended for in the state of Nebraska anymore. I'll give you a little background on TIF. Those of us that are old enough remember the 60s and 70s. Inner cities were burning. Riots, we called them slums back then. Omaha, North Omaha was one of the major cities that had the problems. The slum. So somebody in California or Minnesota came up with this idea of, well, let's create this tax income financing where everybody was building on the donut on the outskirts of the community, of the cities, and the inner city was rotting away. And they came up with this idea, well, here's what we'll do. We'll take the additional taxes that are created by development, and if they build on the inner city, we will clear the old buildings, we'll put new infrastructure in, new water mains, streets, curbs, remove the old buildings, and we'll tell the developer, build it here, not on the outside of town. As you see what's happening, 40 years later, it's reversed. The building back on the outside of town and using TIF. It's not what it was meant to do. TIF is urban renewal. It's meant to rebuild the deteriorating cities, inner cities. Makes sense, taxpayers said. Well, we'll let you take our school taxes, our city taxes, our county taxes, our NRD taxes, and we will help the city rebuild that inner core. Makes sense. It was never, ever an economic development tool. You can read the entire statutes and not find that term in it. It's redevelopment. It's urban renewal. So if anybody tells you this is economic development, they are wrong. It was never supposed to be used for that purpose. So anyway, why it went to the voters twice, in 1976 and 78. But why did we have to get voter approval to change, to allow TIF to change our Constitution? Because our Constitution says, taxes shall be levied by valuation uniformly and proportionally upon all real property and franchises and defined by the legislature except otherwise provided or permitted by the Constitution. We had to create an otherwise or permitted to allow TIF. So in 1976, they came with the proposal, and it failed. 59% voted against us. And the biggest reason was the schools. The schools were going to use their property taxes, so they organized, the teachers' union organized and defeated it. Came back in 1978, made a deal with the education establishment. Well, what you lose in property taxes we'll make up in state aid. Worked for a while. Then schools have lately figured out the pie is only so big of money available. If you take property taxes out, that doesn't necessarily mean there's enough state aid to fill that hole. Plus, you have a dollar that the state figures on your local effort rate, and you can charge $1.07 or $1.05 to $1.07. They were losing that 7 cents. And they were losing all the bonding, all the property for bonds to build new schools. So they have finally wised up. We've gone too far with TIF. So the good news is the education establishment is starting to understand, and I guess the schools board here understood what was happening. So anyway, we came with Article 8, Section 12 of the Constitution that says, created the blighted, substandard and blighted property in a redevelopment project for the purpose of rehabilitating, acquiring, and redeveloping. Next slide. If you don't believe me what the intent was, this is what the Omaha World Herald wrote, and the World Herald back then covered the entire state. I mean, back in North Platte, we used to get the World Herald, Scottsbluff, every small town had it. The Villager Village, on August 6, 1978, they said, in their editorial, they said, a city or village could buy blighted downtown property and clear it in preparation for a new structure. That's what it was originally intended to do. The city would buy or condemn an area, remove the old building, put new infrastructure in, and entice a developer to come in downtown instead of building out on 185th and Dodge. Then further on they said, the ideal is to encourage developers to use downtown or Main Street property instead of building on the outskirts of town. Does that sound familiar? Where taxes and property value may be lower. In other words, it was cheaper to buy a cornfield than it was to buy a bunch of old homes, an old block, and clear it and build new homes. TIF was meant to make sure they could do that. They could develop the old downtown. It's gone 180 degrees the other way with the cornfields again. It was never meant to happen. And then they also said when they endorsed it a day or two before the election, we have recommended passage which would help cities and towns of all sizes develop run-down areas, not cornfields. That's what the people voted on. That's what the people in 1978 thought TIF was going to do and should do. We understood it back then. It's been totally warped. This is by statute. You have an attorney that goes around the state, I think you got him hired here, and has wrote his own version of TIF. I doubt many city council people have ever read the statutes, have ever read them. I know him. He's from my area, Gothenburg. He found his ambulance, and he peddles it across the state. But here's what the definition of substandard is the City Council should look at. Substandard areas means an area in which there is a predominance of buildings or improvements, whether non-residential or residential, in character which by reason of dilapidation, deterioration, age, or obsolescence, inadequate provisions for ventilation, light, air, sanitation, or open spaces. You're supposed to have lack of open spaces. You don't have TIF open spaces. High density of population, and it goes on. Nothing should be TIF'd unless it fits that description, which I'll get into later. We have no oversight. We have no state oversight. So you can do what you want. The oversight is this. You hire a lawyer and you sue in civil court. I always say it's like the state putting 75 miles on the speed limit on the interstate and there's no state patrol. That's what TIF is. Definition of blighted. In our state statutes, blighted area means an area in which there is at least one of the following conditions. Unemployment is in the designated area is at least 120% of the state and the national average. You have a high unemployment area here in Ashland? The average age of the resident or commercial units in the area is at least 40 years. Oh, God made that earth out there in the cornfield. Well, not more than 40 years, you want blighted. More than half of the plotted and subdivided property in the area is unimproved land that has been within the city for 40 years and has remained unimproved during that time. They just annexed it. Has it been there for 40 years? That's the statute. Per capita income of the area is lower than the average. I doubt that here. That's the statute. Then we go to the next one, but for. You hear but for. Well, they're not going to build it here in Ashland if we don't TIF it. The but for is not that you're going to build it. You're going to build it in a blighted area. They're going to build it. Developers develop. They are going to build houses somewhere. TIF is supposed to be a lure to tell them build in this blighted area and substandard area, not out there in the cornfield. It's supposed to be a lure. And I use the word and. The constitutional amendment says blighted and substandard. Remember that. But the but for is you build it on a blighted area, not outside the community. It's not that you're going to build it at all. Next one. Here's the one. Here's the state statute that Mr. Bacon sells his TIF to small communities. Right here. Upon a determination by resolution of the governing body of the city in which such land is located, that the acquisition and development of undeveloped vacant land not within a substandard or blighted area is essential to the proper clearance and redevelopment of substandard or blighted areas on a necessary part of the general community redevelopment program of the city. You can add it to the blighted area, the blighted project. Redevelopment law started in the 1950s. States had it. That amendment to the statute was passed in 1953. TIF didn't come into effect in 1978. We've had redevelopment law since the 50s. And the city could blight or, so they use the word or, so standard in the area. They could have a special tax assessment to fix that area. They could use grant money, they could use foundation money, they could do fundraising to use it to upgrade the area. They didn't have TIF. That was in the 1950s. And its meaning was this. I see part of your community, Bob gave me a tour, you got some older homes. Those people probably are happy there. You are building there. But you don't have enough area there to build. So you need a little bit of area that's on the outskirts of town to bring it in to complete the project. That's what that means. Makes sense? What they have done with that is said, we're going to blight these 3 houses on the edge of town, and we're going to build a Costco over here. We're not doing anything with that. They've twisted it so far that that is supposed to be good, well-meaning legislation, and that's what it was supposed to do. Not what you're doing here, or what Costco's doing and Fremont's doing. It's happening all over. But that's the one where the lawyer would tell you why you can do it. There's actually a court case from 1998 in the city of Hastings that said, no, you can't do that. That was after TIF. You can't use TIF. The Hastings did that and wanted to bring this extra land into this and build a KOA campground. The developer wanted to. The neighbor took it to court, and the Supreme Court of Nebraska said, rule in favor of the plaintiff that such a result would be contrary to the legislative intent of underlying of the community redevelopment law, which is to eliminate blighted and substandard urban areas. There's that word "and." Redevelopment law says "or." You could claim that cornfield is substandard. Doesn't have water mains, doesn't have street curbs, doesn't have proper drainage. That's substandard. But I defy you to tell me in the definition of blighted how you can say "and blighted." I don't think you can. Morally. It's the rule of law. Also, in the Frisky versus City of Hastings case, the record contained no facts establishing that the development of the campground was necessary for the elimination of blight and substandard conditions. Further on it goes, the campground may have been a desirable economic development for Hastings. May have been. That is the purpose of TIF. TIF is urban renewal, period. It doesn't care. If economic development happens, that's a sidebar. The purpose for TIF is urban renewal. Eliminate blighted substandard. The campground may have been a desirable economic development for Hastings. This factor alone does not justify incorporating a campground site into an existing development area. Then they concluded it was invalid. They also mentioned that it was an urban area. Blighted and substandard urban areas. So now we have a statute made by court. Why are they still doing it? They sat back. In fact, Senator Seiler, who's from Hastings, he's no longer senator, but he told me one day, he said, when that court case happened, the word out was TIF is dead as far as being abused in the state of Nebraska. Well, he didn't realize there was no policeman in town. There was no policeman in town to enforce that. We have 3 exceptions to that very first article I told you in the Constitution, Article 8, about uniform. We have 3 exceptions to that. One is farmland. The state can set it at a different value. It's at 75% now instead of the 93 to 100. Personal property, vehicles and stuff can be decided by the legislature. And the third one is TIF. The county assessor tries to give a farmer a favor with a valuation. We got the Turk board. The revenue department oversees that to make sure they're the policing of that. If a county assessor or somebody tries to claim that they're not going to pay property taxes on their personal property, it goes to the revenue department. TIF has no oversight. None. They can do what they want until somebody sues them and the judge says no. All you folks, the citizens, got enough money to sue every time you don't like a TIF project, but that, they know that. So they ignored this. And on they went. After about 7 or 8, 10 years, it started all up again. Open fields. And statewide tax impact on property taxes. I just went back the last 10 years, see that in red. In 2006, there were $30 million taxes collected and not going to the destination schools and other entities. In 10 years, it's gone to 70 million. I say 70 million a year, compound that by 15. We're talking billions of dollars of property taxes that are being diverted in the state of Nebraska over time. You say that's not a lot. Our whole entire state budget is $4.5 billion. So it's expanding, and now it's spreading into the residential. You know, people look the other way. We all look the other way when it was jobs. They TIF'd the Walmart distribution center in North Platte. People say, oh, look at the jobs. I've learned one thing in politics. A scoundrel hides behind two things, jobs and children, when they want to profit from your tax dollars. But now we're talking residential, which is, here's the catch. Those houses out there, you're going to hire a new teacher. Comes to Ashland Greenwood. They love their school, love their community, they want to support it. They buy this house out there. They have no idea that when they pay their property taxes, not a dime of it goes to the school. None of it goes to help to build a new building. None of it helps their roads out front of their house for 5 to 10, 15 years. They don't even know that. They get the normal tax statement. They get their normal tax statement. They pay it to the county treasurer. The county treasurer splits it off and gives the base portion, whatever the cornfield is worth, to the city, the county, the school. The rest of it goes to the bondholder. And the way they've been working it is the developer buys his own bond. So not only does he get the money to put the street in, the sewer in, he gets 5 to 7% return on his investment on his own tax dollars. But Bob said the 1.5 million turns into 2.7. He gets his own taxes back to pay that pretty good profit. I want to make one thing clear. I never blame the businessman. For free enterprise, they work their sharks. It's the bottom dollar. You've got to make your product work, and you've got to maximize your profit by work. If the local elected official or the state senator gives it to them, you should blame me, not that developer. He's just a shark. He's trying to maximize his profits. You can blame your local officials for not investigating and following the rule of law, and what should happen. Impact on schools, the two big ones. Lincoln has 52 projects. Their excess value in their school district is $417 million. They lose about $9 million in funding for the school. Omaha's really gotten every $7.12 out of every $100 of valuation in the Omaha Public Schools district is not taxed. It's taxed, but it's not going to where it needs to go. You hear about Elkhorn can't fix the potholes. About $9 million of Omaha's is taxed. They could fix a lot of potholes if they collected that property taxes. You know, and the cities, League of Municipalities will come to you and say, we have no economic development tools. The cities have no economic development tools. They do have LB 840 and a couple of them. But I've always believed that economic development tools fix your potholes, have good public safety, fix your streets, and keep your property taxes low. That's called economic development tools. That's the way it's supposed to work. Not TIF. Don't steal from the schools, the county, the NRD, take their property taxes from them because you didn't do your job. Run good fiscal government. Period. That 18 million and that 9 million comes out of your income taxes. Because it shifted, because they're equalized school districts. Greenwood, Ashland Greenwood is too. Because of the bargain made that it would not affect the school district's income because it was shifted to state aid, that 26 million, of that 70 million, usually over half of it goes to schools, so 35 million is now coming out of state aid to local schools. That's where the schools caught on. Well, if we'd have got our property taxes, the state would have had an extra 35 million we all could have split up. But now 35 million is first making up the lost property taxes, so we have less pool of state aid for the rest of us. They finally caught on to that. So, I'll reiterate, TIF is a good program. Urban renewal. Riverfront in Omaha, Conagra. Remember what that was? Some of you guys, folks are a little older, it was a mess. They fixed it. The old market in Omaha, Haymarket in Lincoln, TIF, perfect. You wouldn't have walked downtown Lincoln 30, 40 years ago. TIF did its job. Bob already went over this, but you guys have a 2.2 levy, and what is it, a fourth of it? About a fourth of it? About a third of it. You got a high tax rate here in this community. Is your community. So when your city council decides to do this, they say they're doing it for the community. Was taking funds from your school, from your county, and doing something for the community. When I look at myself as a state senator, I don't represent the state. I represent everybody. When you run for city council, you represent the schools, you represent every citizen in that community. You're all of a sudden on team community, team town. You represent everybody. It's not the city against the county, the city against the schools. It should be community. And by confiscating their tax dollars, I don't know how you think you're doing the whole community a service. It's about money. Lots of money. In the Lincoln mayor's race last year, the last reporting, 53,000 of 108,000 came from real estate builders, contractors, developers, architects, engineers, and those identified as having indirect TIF connection. It's very profitable, TIF. Omaha, approximately 137 of 196, this is just the last reporting period, not the entire election, came from real estate builders, contractors, developers, architects, engineers on the last campaign statement. It's about money. That's why it's so critical that we rein this thing in. Like I said, freedom of speech. I can give money to whoever candidate I want, so can they. I don't blame them at all. But that's why we have statutes, that's why we have laws. We have a system of local governments that works. The city has a tax rate, the school board does, the county does, the NRD does. When you go back to medieval times where you have the most powerful city-states that can confiscate all those other taxes, we got a problem. And that's what's happening now in this state. It's distorting the entire tax base, and we have high property taxes. We have a distortion. We are harming things more than we're doing any good. Final thoughts. This is something I said on the floor. My staff made it sound better than what I think I really said. There was a reason that we pay property taxes. We want good schools. I don't mind paying them. Public safety and infrastructure. We want it. We won't pay for it. But those who, if we give tax avoidance for some, the rest of us will pay more. You're going to have snow removal out there. You're going to have public safety out there. You're going to have city employees maintaining it. And here's how the system is supposed to work. You get growth. That new infrastructure doesn't need maintenance. So the property taxes coming off there fix the potholes in Elkhorn. That's how it works. And then the levy for everybody goes down. We have allowed this huge leakage of property taxes. And you don't hear it much from the economic development crowd anymore. If we grow, taxes will go down. They haven't. They haven't in Omaha, they haven't in Lincoln, they haven't in anywhere. They use this TIF. You cannot divert that much money of property taxes and expect your property taxes overall to go down. So you pay. And then what happens with the developer who's honest and goes out and builds 2 or 3 spec houses? He's out of business. He can't compete with these guys. They got a huge advantage. And he can't afford the lawyers. It's corporate builders that will come in and build. It won't be your little contractor who builds 2 or 3 houses. Semis will come in with materials from wood shingles and rafters. It won't be bought locally. Crews will be brought in. They won't be hired locally. They will move. You'll have a development out there that you guys are paying for. Anyway, I hope I didn't act in bias here, but I happen to believe everybody gets a tax break or nobody gets one. They've totally shifted it around. It was meant to do the opposite. Quit building on the outskirts of town, redevelop the old downtown. And look what's happening. It's not us happening here, it's happening across the state. I've introduced, what can we do about it? I introduced 2 bills on putting the revenue department with oversight. Believe it or not, I think most city council people are just good citizens willing to go to meetings at night. They have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go in this state to say, wait a minute, I don't know if you're telling me the truth, lawyer. Who can I go to find out the facts? Nowhere. Our economic development department has no expertise in it. The revenue department does a report. You can quote the numbers I gave you. They do have a very good report showing every project. That's it. They just report. So you live in a small town and you want help to do it right. You want to do it right. We have given them nothing. The state has. Where to go? All this information, I looked it up and researched it myself over the years. Why? Both of my bills were IPP'd in committee. That means killed. Why? All they were asking for is accountability and transparency in government. The legal municipalities and their power, and the developers and their money. Killed it. Killed both of them. All it did was put transparency in government. So you wonder, why would elected officials kill that? Why would they not want that? It's called campaign money. I think next year I'm going to drop a bill on, and by the way, Senator Wayne is a godsend. As the new chairman of the Urban Affairs Committee, he's fair. His district is where TIF should be done, in North Omaha.
It's still abused there.
What's that?
It's still abused there.
We want to salvage TIF, make it be used right, used rarely, and make sure there's a true urban renewal feature to it. I'm going to introduce a bill next year just to strike that 182123. Get rid of it. That's the excuse they use, that they can do it. That's the one they show to city council. They don't show them the definition of blighted. They don't show them the definition of substandard. They don't show them the history of TIF. They show them that 182123, a 1953 law that really is meant to TIF the part of town that has the old structures, and then if you need an acre or 2 outside of town to finish the project, yeah. So anyway, that's enough. I think I take questions.
I'll just start off with the first question, Senator Groene. I know the state of California used to have TIF. In fact, they invented TIF, from my understanding, in the 50s, and it just got to be so out of control, and the state was running so short on money trying to backfill all these TIF districts with state aid that they discontinued TIF in its form. I know it's slowly kind of making a comeback, but what I like where they're coming back with it is they're allowing cities to use TIF, but only their portion of the property taxes would be used, would be diverted. They couldn't divert other tax entities' taxes, like the schools, the county, and so on. So, which makes sense to me. I mean, to me, what really bothers me is the school has no vote on something that's going to directly affect their bottom line. Neither does the county, and the school, the city being able to unilaterally vote on this just doesn't seem right to me. So I'm just wondering, how long can the state of Nebraska continue to backfill schools systems, you know, as TIF keeps growing and growing and growing? You know, when's it going to stop, or the state's just going to say, we just can't afford this any longer?
Well, we got to go back to the fact that it's in the Constitution that the cities do have that power. But it also says in the Constitution, determined by law, which is us, Senator Wayne and myself. And we can tweak it, strengthen it, that it's used for urban areas. Actually, I don't think constitutionally we could give this the schools and the counties a veto vote, because it says they can do it. We'd have to change the Constitution. But we can restrict where it's used. We can put hard common man language in it, what it can be used for. And quite frankly, it's in the statutes already. I gave you the definition of blighted substandard. We need oversight. First thing we got to do, no matter what we do with the law, if nobody's enforcing it, it's meaningless. It's paper.
So,
If you could come up in the microphone, please.
I just want
Oh, go ahead. So everyone can hear it.
So I understand TIF was put into place by the state in 1978.
By the people,
By the people of the state.
a constitutional amendment.
Okay. But at that same time, nothing was put into place to govern it. That's what
No.
you're saying.
The cities were their own enforcer.
What level at what level in the city then?
City council.
City council. So it's up to the city council to govern the TIF financing, right? Okay, which is what's happening here. The city council is saying, oh, we're going to give it to them. And it's not for the right, like you said, not for blighted and substandard. It's to put money in pockets that where it doesn't belong, right? So if your city council doesn't govern it the way it's supposed to, that's when it gets misused.
Well, it gets misused because it's sold that it's economic development, and it's not. It's not economic development.
Okay, so
It's not meant for economic development. That's an after effect.
Okay, so do you think, what is the solution, to take it out of the city council hands and put it at the state level, or what is the
They
solution?
can still do it, but we need oversight, like we have the Turk board with property, like I said earlier, the Turk board at the revenue, that if you wanted to protest, if this group wanted to protest a TIF project, they could go to the Department of Revenue and say, we disagree that my community is using this correctly, and then the Department of Revenue would have the same power the Turk board has and say, no, you have not followed the rules, or yes, they have. So that's what, and then,
The Department of Revenue would go back to the city council and say, no,
yeah,
you have violated
it's no different than if you go down to, if you protest your property taxes right now, and the county does not agree with you, you can go to the state and do it, and sometimes the state Turk board agrees with you, sometimes they agree with the county.
But at this point, there's no
oversight. There's no oversight. There is, it's court system.
Can you get the names of the people before they speak?
Yes, what was your name?
Catherine.
Okay. Name, please.
Nicole Wall. Thank you,